All right, guys, it's Dan here, and I wanted to show you a quick flow, simple flow with $20,000 in extra revenue in just under 3 months. Most brands don't even know that this flow exists. It's called the high intent flow, and it sits right between your browse abandons and your cart abandons, meaning your checkouts, and it scoops up people who keep coming back, clicking emails, checking the same products on your website, but still haven't purchased. Now, I'm going to break down the logic. I'm going to show you the exact segment you need. Then I'll build the whole thing live inside Klaviyo so you can copy it today. It's super fast, very simple, and it just works. So let's get into it. So proof that it works, before I get into all the finer details of how this strategy works and things like that, you can see here from September the 1st till November the 20th today, this flow, the first one we had has generated just over $20,000. And then since we launched the high intent flow, which was on November the 5th, in literally less than 15 days, we've generated around $7,000 of extra revenue. Again, this is revenue that did not exist before we had these flows. The abandonment flows and everything were bringing in great revenue, but this is like on top of what we're already making. Again, we're seeing it perform as good as, if not better, than some of our abandonments like the browse, even the welcome series instances. So it's definitely worth implementing this. And believe me, it does not take long to do. So we'll get into exactly what a high intent flow is next. Let's get into it. So what is a high intent flow? So let me do a little bit of a deep dive behind the strategy and the thinking of it. So as already mentioned, it sits between your browse, abandoned cart, and checkout flows, and it's triggered specifically by repeated interest, which is targeting users who have shown genuine buying behavior through multiple touch points. Okay, so you have your browse abandonment, which is like the initial interest shown. You have your high intent, which comes out afterwards, which is that they've had repeated engagement on the website and through your emails. Then the third is the cart abandonment, when they've added to the basket, and obviously your checkout when they're ready to purchase. So the idea of this flow is it hits exactly when your potential customer is at their hottest, when they're just ready to pull the trigger, when they're actively browsing on the website, whether it's on their phone or on their computer. They're maybe comparing prices and different products, and then they're kind of ready to make that decision. All right, so there's a little background into it. So why do these work? I mean, the results do speak for themselves. We've been running this one now just under 3 months. The reason it's in draft in this image is we've just launched a Black Friday version of this flow because it was working so well, and we were like, okay, well, we may as well just duplicate this and switch it with the Black Friday messaging, which is, again, it's going to perform even better than it already has been. The reason they work, though, is because you've got warm traffic that only goes through the flows, and they only go through this flow once as well. It's very important to notice that whenever you create a segment and you have a flow trigger off a segment, a dynamic segment, they will only ever go through the flow once. So they're not getting spammed with emails left, right, and center, but they're super warm traffic and they've already demonstrated interest. They have high email engagement, so they've been clicking your emails. It's the highest engagement trigger. We're going to be creating a segment based off clicks. They're active on the site, so they've been browsing products while they've been clicking your emails, and they're basically just ready for a nudge. They're sort of waiting for either their friend to tell them like, hey, just do it. The little voice inside their head to say, just do it. Or for, in this case, voice to send them a nice, simple email saying, hey, let's help you out. Okay. So 2 proven offer strategies that we've tried with these flows. So the one, option A, is the dynamic discount. So this will usually have an offer inside of it to get the other person over the line to become a purchaser. Now, that is one option, right? And I think it's best for fast conversion. We've tested this out on smaller AOV brands, around $60 to $100. It gives them like a small limited time discount directly in the email, but it also asks them, reply to the email if you need help, which is basically what option B is. It's solely a reply to close email. It's best for higher AOV brands. So think your furniture brands, your beds, mattresses, sofas, things like that. And basically what this is asking for them to let you know what's holding them back. So what their objections are. Usually with higher AOV purchases, people are thinking a lot before they make the purchase. Some brands, it takes months before they do that. But if you send an email at the point when they're most interested, right? and they're thinking most about it, basically saying like, hey, look, we're here to help you. Literally any question you have, reply to this email and we'll respond as soon as possible. You're encouraging that conversation. And most AOV brands, they'll know, especially if they have a brick and mortar business, say you're selling mattresses and you have a mattress shop in town, people who come in the closing rate on people who come into the store is a lot higher than those that are browsing the website. And so what we're trying to do here is we're trying to replicate that kind of store experience where they can literally reach out and get personal help on their buying decision for that higher ticket product. Okay. But this doesn't just have to be e-commerce. Obviously, we work with e-commerce brands here at Hayes. That's primarily what we focus on. However, this can work for your, high ticket coaching programs, info products, and things like that. Okay. So next point, the email strategy. So what is the strategy that we've seen that works? So it's 2 plain text emails, no fancy design, no over-the-top copy, just direct human communication from the founder. You can see a previous video we uploaded a week ago around plain text and why it matters and why it's crushing design emails. So you have 2 emails. Email 1 is starting the conversation. So in this case, we're just giving a little example here, like, hey, I noticed you've been checking us out a few times this week. Is anything holding you back from placing an order? And then email 2, and then obviously in that email, depending which offer strategy you go for, whether it's the discount, fast conversion, or the reply to close, you will include that offer in email 1. All right. So if it's a discount, you announce the discount, you give them the coupon code, and you also say, hey, reply to this email if you have any questions after the offer. And then email 2 is where you create urgency. So in this case, for the discount one, we have just a reminder, your exclusive code expires, and it also make it authentically expire, where it's time pressure without being pushy. And then if you wanted to do the reply to close offer strategy on email 2, what you can actually say is like, look, we have limited stock on select products, configurations, like that. It's best if you thinking about a specific sofa or a specific mattress, if you're thinking, because I'm thinking of higher ticket brands in this sense, or if you're thinking about the course that we're selling or what it can do for you, it's best to take action now. However, we understand you might have some questions, so reply to this email and we'll help you out, right? So you kind of create a bit of authentic urgency behind it, even without having a discount that expires or anything like that. So I will show you how we build all this out. I just want to explain the kind of step-by-step thinking of it so that you can understand, right? It's like teaching you how to fish so that you can replicate this strategy, not just in this flow, but you can also try it out in different ways. So the way this specific flow structure works is, first of all, you have to build the segment. Again, I'm going to do all of this live so you can see how it's built in a moment. But first of all, so we can set the scene of what's, coming, is that first you need to build the segment. Right? We need to define who qualifies as a high intent potential purchaser. Second is to create the flow. Third is to add the emails. And then fourth is to add any kind of finer touches, whether it's dynamic coupons, maybe images within the plain text emails. Maybe you want to add CTA buttons, inside the plain text emails you can. So first of all, we're going to build the segment. All right. So I'm going to show you how to build that segment now. On the screen, you can see the definitions of the segment. So this will help you go away and build it. But let's show you how it's done. First of all, we can take a screenshot of this so we know what we're building. Okay, so here is how you build it. This segment we're starting with. So name it as you wish. We just named it high intent flow here just for demonstration purposes. So it's a very simple segment to build, actually. You literally have what someone has done, clicked an email at least once in the last 3 days, and what someone has done or not done, active on site at least once in the last 3 days, and what someone has done, placed order 0 time in the last 30 days. So again, you can actually play with this number as well, depending on your brand. So it could be 30 days. It may be longer if it's it may be longer if it's a higher AOV brand. It might be a few months. It could even be a lot quicker. It could be 15 days. You need to know exactly what's sweet for your store. But again, this is something you can replicate, not just in Klaviyo. You can duplicate this in Active Campaign and all things like that, and follow this exact structure, and then play around with this place order day rate here. But these tend to stay the same. I think 3 days is the sweet spot that we found for engagement purposes. So again, this is super simple. Create this the segment with these definitions, and then we'll move on to step 2. Okay, so step 2 is we want to create flow. So come into your flows on the left side and then click create flow. And then we want to click build our own. And then we'll just name this test YouTube high intent. We want to create this manually. And then what we want to do here is we want to find the segment here, add it to segment trigger, click this. And then what you want to do is, again, I'll have to blur all of these out because there's some of these segments names like we can't show. I think some of them are okay, but we'll blur all of this out. But basically, you'll find the high intent test. Sometimes it takes Klaviyo a little bit of time to like refresh it all. So let's see. Okay, apologies. I had to duplicate the segment and create it for YouTube. But anyway, here we go. I've named it as YouTube test high intent. So you'll have your name. We'll blur the rest of this, but you'll be able to see the YouTube test here. So once you find the segment name, click on that. Tell you what, Klaviyo, it'd be so nice if you could add a search function sometimes. I know they add a lot of search functions everywhere, but for some reason in the added to segment thing, you just can't search it. You just have to scroll down. Funny thing is, it's not even in any order. So if you've got a lot of segments like we do, yeah, you're gonna have to scroll through and find it, unfortunately. But anyway, once you've found it, once you've spent half a day looking for it and you finally got it, click OK, get it in here, and then we're gonna add a profile filter of placed order. And what this one has done, placed order 0 times since starting this flow. This is the only filters that you need. Again, like I said, people won't go through this flow again, so you don't have to worry about them getting spammed. We don't want them to go through the flow if they've already bought something. What you can do is, if you want to really spread this out and separate it, is you can also make sure that they're not going through the other abandonment flows as well. That's the only other filter I would add. We didn't add that. The way we checked it is that we know where the attribute orders are going to, so it's fine on our side, but you may want to track that separately, and we use triple N and different data things to look at attribution. So if you want to separate it, just click and then what you would do is basically, they used to make it super easy where it's like if someone is in a flow, they used to be able to find it super easily. I don't know how they do that now, but another way of doing it is if they've received email and then you say flow, and then you put the name of the flow. Again, we'll have to blur out all that drop down there, but if it equals, and then you type in, the flow name here, Klaviyo put the search function here for you guys, so you don't have to scroll forever, but you can type the name of the flow, and if they've received, say, from the checkout, you type in checkout, and then you can exclude them from that. So they're the only other filters I would add. Otherwise, this is good to go. Click save, and then you're good. And click save, confirm and save. Obviously, once you confirm and save, that's it. You are tied to it. You have to delete it and start again if you want to switch the trigger out. So make sure you click the right trigger. Then once we've confirmed and saved, we want to add 2 emails, like we said. So email 1, and you can have a short delay here. So I would say there's a couple of ways you can do this. One way, what I like to do is we wait maybe 2 hours and keep it like that, keep it short. Another thing is delay until a specific time of the day. And then based on the data that you have on your like smart send time tests, or when basically you get the best engagement rates, in this case, we find it's 7:30 p.m. You can say recipients locals time zone, and then say we want to have 1 day. This is also good. Okay, and so for email 2, what we can do is set a time delay up here as well. Usually, normal time delays in flows tend to be 1 or 2 days between the first and second sends. With this flow, because it's literally being sent once, you can actually make it shorter. I've seen a few hours do well, like 12 hours or something like that. But we're going to delay until a specific time of day. Again, pick the time that works well. So they say 7:30 is general, and then we'll have the recipient's local time zone. So this is kind of the standard setup. Also email 2 there. And then what you want to do is just name each email what the main offer is going to be. So did you pick the discount? Did you pick the reply to convert? So let's just say we're doing a discount, right? And we can put, first of all, just change this to high intent, email 1, discount, and then put, I don't know, say it's 15% off, right? So we'll save that. And then email 2 will be the discount 15% off, but also expiring today. So adding some urgency behind it. Expiring and urgency, just at the start of the email. Okay, so this is kind of the standard setup, pretty much. Obviously, we still have to write the emails. Now, some good examples of writing the emails is going in with the founder. So either someone who's higher up in the team, it could be the founder, it could be like head of customer support, it could be someone like that, but someone who is a face of the brand is really good to use here. If you don't use founder emails, or you're just the type of brand that doesn't really have a face to the brand, you can also just say from the team. But these are like hyper personalized, super friendly, down to earth, not salesy in any way, which I'll get up in a moment, which we want to basically just say, hey, we notice what you've been doing, which in this case, we notice that you've been engaging with our emails, have been looking at our website, and you still haven't, made a decision. And we're here to help with that. So what we've done is we've offered, a 15% off discount, or we're giving you a 15% off discount with this unique code below. Now, this code is unique to you. Nobody else can use it. Make them feel special. And by using that personalization, you're calling out what they've been doing on the website. You're saying it's just for you and it's just on email because you're an email subscriber, and it's a discount that they can't find anywhere else. So make sure it's different from your welcome offer, right? Even if it's like an extra, maybe free gift or something on top of the welcome offer. And you'll be surprised how well this converts. So let's go back to the presentation and I'll show you some of the results in a bit more finer detail. So I mentioned at the start of the video, which I showed you live, this is actually till the 19th, but it's actually generated more revenue now. As you can see, $20,000 in under 3 months. And the great thing is it works on top of your existing abandonment flows, which is what we've spoken about. It doesn't replace anything. It really just fills in the gaps that are there. Now, I've used this on top of something else which we use, which is like Instant, which is identifies different audiences that perhaps haven't given their email addresses. Then you can actually like really maximize the revenue that's coming from your abandonment flows. I think brands nowadays that just stick to the standard browse, checkout, cart abandonment, yes, it's great. Yes, you're recovering a lot of lost revenue by having those flows, but these are this video and also the Instant video that we have on our channel. Those are ways that you can take these normal foundational flows and supercharge them and squeeze more out of them without any negative impact. And again, this is what we're trying to do on this channel. We're trying to show you the basics and get that solidified. You can go check out our other videos where we have a complete Klaviyo course from start to finish. And these videos are more to like, that cherry on top to bring in more, revenue again without harming your list or annoying your subscribers. So just to go over the best practices here with this flow. So again, don't overuse it. I mean, you can't really overuse it because, like I said, they only go through the flow. But what I mean by this is don't have too many emails in there. Don't be spamming them with this flow. Don't have like 3, 4, 5 emails in it. If the first two emails perform really well, great. Maybe test one more email, but I would actually hold off adding any more to it. I think 2 emails is the sweet spot. Keep the offers small. So depending on your brand, obviously, sometimes like some brands, they have big discounts, but the pricing reflects on it on the website. Make sure like you're only really giving them essentially something that makes sense, right, from your margins. Don't be going crazy. They are warm leads and they don't need a huge incentive. If you want, you could also set up A/B tests where you do not even give an offer. Right. And this is something I always talk about with A/B testing again in other videos. Is like if you're A/B testing offers, try A/B testing versus smaller discounts or even versus no discounts. And that's something, this flow is perfect for trying that out. Always plain text. I would say, again, like I said, design emails feel like marketing. Plain text feels like a conversation. So stick with that for this flow in particular. And then also refresh the copy regularly. Update your messaging. Every 6 to 8 weeks, you want to be testing out new messaging, prevent fatigue. You can also use seasons, like for example, in Black Friday, like what I showed you, we've updated the flow so it has Black Friday messaging. Maybe around Christmas, you do the same. Maybe around the new year, you do the same. So you want to always be refreshing the copy so that you stay relevant. And that brings me on to the last point. So, which is if you want this built properly, or you want someone to handle all of your email marketing and SMS marketing without you having to babysit it, that's what we do here at Haze. We run retention for 7- and 8-figure brands in e-commerce with Shopify stores every single day, and we can build this flow for you, fix your current setup, actually grow your revenue month by month and year on year instead of you having to guess without any of that guesswork. So if you want help, click below in the description. We have a link there where you can book a call with us. Yeah, that's it. I look forward to speaking with you guys and seeing you in the next video. Again, comment below if you found this helpful, and yeah, see you in the next one. Bye.